I'm gonna do a season 7 Overwatch tier list. Don't start molding because me and you have different perspectives. Okay. Bastion. What do I think about Bastion? I don't think he's S tier personally. I know a lot of people might think he's S tier, but there are some counters. All you have to do is not go in when he has turret form, play cover, change the tempo, go in afterwards. He also is a pretty big target, so like if you play hit scan, you shouldn't have any trouble hitting him at all. And if you play support like a Laurie, Baptiste, Ana, shoot him when your DPSs are shooting him. He's not that OP. Cassidy. Now a lot of people might disagree with me in the meta ranks, but I know a lot of people will agree with me in the GM ranks. S tier. Yeah, S tier. Yeah, okay. D tier. I think Cassidy. I don't think he's F tier. I don't think any character in Overwatch is F tier. There's no like, the only character that was an F tier character at one point was Light Fever. Light Fever was terrible. Like, you cannot make him work in Grandmaster at all. He's in a very similar spot to Cassidy. If you're like a specialist, if you played the character a lot and you like played him for a long time, you like know all the ins and out of a character, you can make him work. Granted, it is going to be like one of those things where if I play Sojourn and I'm not having the greatest game, I can probably do as well as, you know, if I was playing Cassidy and I was having the most perfect game. Like, I'll probably have the same amount of impact in the game. So yeah, that's my take on Cassidy, what he needs. I mean, I've already talked about like what he needs. Give him like a little snare, like a little bola, let him like throw a lasso, boom, you know. And then I can like line up the headshot, because lining up a headshot with Hinder is, it's still kind of hard. They're moving, they're like fucking spinning around, you know, they're manipulating the head hitbox. Okay, wait, I think before we do Diva, let's do some obvious ones so that it's easier to like make this tier list. I think Orisa is A tier. I think she's still very, very good. If you're not a very good tank player, hop on Orisa. You get a lot of value, man. You get a lot of value. Diva, oh man, BC, I'm a little bit biased because I play a lot of hit scan, and I think Diva is one of the easiest characters to like headshot. I would like to put her at C tier because this is also a GM tier list. She's probably very good in the meta ranks. To me, I think Winston is better than Diva because of bubble. Shields will always have like a stronger like influence in the game because you can block a lot of things like sleep dart, you can block nade, but Diva, you kind of have to be really good at timing those like abilities, and that's why I would always think Winston is going to be better than Diva. But I think Winston's going to be always better than Diva. I also think Promo Rage is more consistent of an ability than Diva Bomb, which is why I think yeah, Diva is C tier in GM. Winston B tier, or what I just said. I think Promo Rage is more consistent. He's not as good right now in this meta because of poke. I think a lot of supports punish Winston really, really hard. I think Orisa is a little bit easier to play against poke because of spin, fortify. You also have a stun. Like, if they're close enough, you can still kill him. Winston, man, good luck, man. Good luck. You're gonna have to like dive in, hope to God that your second DPS is a Tracer, Sombra, or Genji, something that can like clean up with you. And if you don't, well, you're probably not gonna kill him, and you're gonna probably swap to a better tank. Genji, I think Genji is better than Cass because he still has an identity. Like, he can work really well still with dive if the enemy team is not good at aiming. Like, I've seen some arguments that Genji is bad. I don't think he's bad. I think he's viable. Like, I genuinely think he's viable, especially when you have Ana right now in the game. And she's always being played as Nano Boost in like every single fucking game that I'm playing. There's always an Ana. There's always an Ana. It's like, I think her pick rate is like 20% or something like that. It's crazy. So for that reason, I think because Nano Blade is always going to be powerful, I don't think he's bad. I definitely don't think I actually think he's more viable than Diva, because he's still good at dueling as well. Deflect is very powerful, and I don't think a lot of people even realize they buffed Deflect multiple times now. I think it used to be a lot shorter, and you also couldn't cancel it. Like, now you can cancel it whenever you want, and it's longer. People don't know those changes, and back then when you couldn't cancel it, you can time it always, like as a hero. Now you know, he can cancel it whenever he wants and right click you in the face, like if he's up close to you. So that's why I think he's very good. Hanzo, I think he's okay. I think he's a little bit better than Genji, but he's like not that much better. I think hit scan kind of like rolls right now. I'm kind of like thinking between C and B because I think proficient Hanzo players are very good at making him work, which is why I think he'll always have like a place in the game. Being able to like aim well on Hanzo, he'll always like have a place in the game. I think he's like a really low B. If I can make a B minus, I'd put him at B minus. Junkrat, I think Junkrat sucks right now because of the support meta. I'm trying to like place these characters depending on like what is being played a lot. I actually think he's just as bad as Cassidy. This is like a hot take maybe, but I think Junkrat lost his like his niche because he used to be very good when spam was like a thing, especially when Mei was being played a lot. Like good luck peeking. I'm much more scared of a Hanzo than like a Junkrat spam. Hanzo has like a one shot, Junkrat doesn't, and right now supports all are hit scan, like the meta supports, so it's easy to like kill a Junkrat in my opinion. Is he better than Cass? I guess it depends on your elo. I think it really depends on your elo because I think Junkrat is worse than Cassidy in GM1 because people can aim. People can like I mean, I'm pretty sure like to all my Cassidy mains in GM, like it's probably not that hard for you to kill a Junkrat. Ana, easy S tier. Down boost is very powerful. It's very easy to farm. Anti-nade is very powerful too. You change like the whole tempo of a fight. Like let's say any tank, let's say like a broad tank, you nade the enemy tank. That's your win condition. Just nade him, and hopefully your DPS are looking at the tank too while he's naded. And let's say they have a Kiriko. Oh shit, I'm gonna go for a cleanse. Kiriko is a low S. If I can make another like line, I put her at low S minus. I think Ana is better than Kiriko for two reasons. Kiriko only has cleanse, like one cleanse. Ana has a sleep dart and an anti-nade. How I've been playing Ana in like GM is I would sleep the enemy tank. Most Kirikos would instantly cleanse because to them that's like a really big threat. But what you're supposed to do is if you're playing Kiriko, I actually think it's way more efficient to cleanse when the Ana nades. I think nade is so powerful, and since Ana has two like really strong abilities to force Kiriko's cleanse, I think Ana's better. In my opinion too, in like high elo, Ana can also duel like really far. She doesn't have fall off damage with her scope shots. 0. So if you land 3 body shots on any target that's like 50 meters away, 40 meters away, you know, Kiriko can't really do that efficiently. You like have to really know how to aim with Kiriko's kunais, and you have to be really good at aiming too. The most frustrating thing is getting shot by Ana across the map, and if you try to get close to her, she has nade and sleep. So I think you should punish one of those two elements. She has a sniper. She is a sniper, so I think a lot of people will be like, why nerf her damage like from long range? But I think she is just way too strong. She has too much. Just the damage that they should nerf, not the heal. I think healing is fine. Her healing is fine. She pumps a lot of healing, but when there's a character like Baptiste that can do both, he is the best character in the game right now. He has so much damage, so much healing potential. He has high mobility. He also has the ability to stay immortal until his fields get broken. This character is so good. His ultimate is also like very consistent. Like you can use it for yourself, but if you have a hit scan on your team, man, that tank is dying. Whoever is getting shot at by the ultimate is dying. Better than Ana. I think he is a playmaker. He's also the best duelist in the game. If you play any DPS and you try to duel against a Baptiste that can aim with his left click, and good luck with that. He can also heal himself with his regenerative burst, and I think he has like 350 HP. Like if you hit him for like 100 damage and he uses that ability, he pretty much has like 350 HP. It's really strong, and if you're like dueling a Baptiste with that ability, yeah, good luck with that. Lucio, I think Lucio is really bad right now. I just don't think this is a place for him. He's only really good at rush, and we did talk about it earlier where like he needs a buff. Someone from my chat said that if Lucio could like knock or boop someone into a wall, they should get stunned for like 0.5 seconds. I think that could be significant enough where he gets played more but he's not going to be broken because he doesn't have a lot of follow-up damage unless he has someone with him. So that could be very, very OP, or it's just like just enough where he's good enough to be played more than like Kiriko, Ana, Baptiste, because I don't see a world where they nerf all of these S tier characters. Yeah, there's always going to be like a duelist support. So for that reason, I think Lucius is a B tier. I don't even want to put him at A tier because I do have some spots, some characters I want to put in A tier. For example, Brig. I think Brig has a very niche playstyle. She's very good against dive comp. Not as good as Lifeweaver, because Lifeweaver, I will put him at S tier because he is the actual heal bot character right now in this game. I am getting a feeling that S stands for support. But yeah, Brig is very, very strong. In my opinion, she excels at playing against dive. The only reason why I think Lifeweaver is a little bit better than Brig, even though he excels at playing against dive too, is that he can enable against other compositions. Like, let's say you're playing poke. If you have a Lifeweaver, you can lift up, let's say, your Ashe, your Widowmaker, your Cassidy with the high noon. Like, he can enable a lot. He also has the ability to pull people away. You know, let's say the enemy Ana nades your tank. Pull him away when he's like low HP. It's super, super strong. And Brig can't do that. Brig is very, very good at turtling. And that's specifically only against dive comp. In my opinion, right now, rush comp, if you don't have an Ana, you're kind of inting because nade is so, so strong against rush. You force out Kiriko cleanse with your sleep dart on the tank, and then you just nade afterwards, and then you're pretty much winning. Zenyatta, let's do supports first, actually. Zenyatta, very interesting character right now. I think he lost a lot of his identity in this game. I think Zen was the support DPS. If you wanted to be a duelist and play support while doing so, you play Zen. And right now, there's so many supports that are better at dueling. I don't think Zen has ever been like S tier for a while. Mainly because Ana came out and then Baptiste specifically came out. Baptiste kind of ruined Zen's identity in my opinion. Like for a long time, there was a comp in Overwatch 1. It was called like, people ran Bap Zen. It was like mega damage. You ran both of them and you basically shred tanks. But there's other better characters now. For example, Illari. Illari is S tier. I will, however, put Illari behind Ana because I do think Ana has more utility and she has more options. And I said that a lot earlier. Any character that is super, super high up, it's because there's different ways to play with their abilities. And there's a lot of impact in the game with their abilities. Ana is just she can DPS, she can like heal bot, she can set plays up, bait cooldowns. Illari, she can like pocket with her pylon, but her main niche is just damage. She is probably the best character, even better than Baptiste in certain situations, at deleting a DPS character. And when I say that, like, you have an Illari ult, you want to kill their biggest threat. Let's say it's a Soldier 76. You really want to kill the Soldier 76. Baptiste can do that with his ultimate, but it requires aim still. And I don't want to say Illari doesn't require aim, but you basically ult the Soldier and hit a body shot and he dies. It's pretty simple. She's like the best at deleting a DPS carry in my opinion. Like if the enemy DPS is an Overwatch League player, you run Illari and ult his ass, that's it. But every single support here has a very, very overkitted ultimate. They're all good at their like own niche. And so Zenyatta, I'm putting him at C tier because Lucio definitely has more of a threat. You can actually play rush with Lucio. And Zenyatta is kind of just like he's an easy target, one. And two, he doesn't do enough. Why would you play Zen when there's Baptiste, Illari in the game? It's specifically these two, because I think these three are all categorized in the same, like DPS-like supports. There's literally no reason to play Zen. So that's like another thing that I will like point out. Hit scan is overall easier to play than projectile like characters, because it's easier to point and click than lead a shot and click. So that's also to like understand. It's easier for you to duel with a hit scan character with most people, especially in GM lobbies. Like not everyone is a god at leading shot with projectiles. Mercy. Okay, I think Mercy and Lucio are in the same tier. They kind of fell off. I think damage boosting is still good if you have like a Overwatch League Contenders Pro, like playing Sojourn, Ashe. But in my opinion, there's a lot of characters up here. That can outshine and outdo what Mercy does. Mercy can heal bot. Same can these. Except for Kiriko can't heal bot, but her cleanse is, if you time it perfectly, it's way better than just heal botting. A perfectly timed cleanse is broken. I think cleanse is like a necessary evil right now in this game because anti-nade. Mercy, her biggest niche right now is just pocketing hit scan, and I don't think that's enough. Like Break, for example, these two have way better poke potential even if you have a Mercy pocket like on a hit scan DPS. They do so much damage on top of, like, let's say a second hit scan. Her res is probably the only reason why she's viable right now. I think certain maps like Flashpoint, it's really far from the objective. You have to walk like a mile to get to the point. Res is the only thing why I would like a Mercy. Moira, she was good last season, but right now I think she lost her, or 2 seasons ago, I think because Life Fever got giga buffed and he became like the best heal bot. I think Moira was the heal bot as well before. She was very good at heal botting if you like really needed to survive as a support character and you needed to like heal and survive. Moira was a very good character. However, nowadays, Light Fever, you can't kill a Light Fever. When he dashes, he gets healed. He has the pedal platform to go up high ground. He can grab people away as well and not just heal. His ultimate is, in my opinion, just like a Brig Rally. Everyone just does not die because of the overheal as well. So I think Moira is in the same position as Zen. They lost their identity. She was the heal bot. Zen was the DPS support, and these are just better. Tough luck to all the TikTok Moras and also the Zen mains. I feel bad for Zen mains. I like Zen players because I think Zen requires a lot of positioning and skill to like hit their shots. I think that's all for the supports. Let's finish up the tanks, and then we can do DPS because DPS is my favorite actually. Hog, I don't think he's F tier. I know some people might disagree with me and say he's F tier, but I think people that are really good at tank and understand Roadhog very well, I think he can work. I don't think he's C tier at all though, but if there was another like rank, I might put him at like D plus in certain situations, because without the anti-nade, he can work technically, because if I'm playing Cassidy and I'm like only looking at the Hog, he actually doesn't die. He does not die. He has so much HP and his heal heals a lot. If I were to like rank 6 and put him as like a Roadhog and like assume that it's 6 plan, I would put him at C tier. But this is like for other Roadhog specialists in GM, he's like a D plus. They're like, these two go hand in hand. They lost their identity. Roadhog can't one shot. Cassidy can't stun people when there's a flanker. They kind of lost their own identity. And also with like the game switching to 5v5, it's another nerf because Roadhog excelled at being an off tank. He does not belong as the main tank or like as the only tank. It doesn't make any sense. Reinhardt, let's finish the tanks. So I think Reinhardt right now is in a weird spot. Poke right now is very good. However, because of Reinhardt's shield, there's been many instances where if I have a Reinhardt and I'm playing Cass and there's like 2 damage like supports like Baptiste and Alari, Reinhardt does really well actually, because your team is taking no damage while their tank is getting shredded. And that's you're kind of winning the HP war. And with that being said, I think Reinhardt can work actually with this poke meta. For that reason, I'll put at B tier. I don't think he's A tier because I think Orisa is still going to be better, because if you cycle her cooldowns, you can technically do what Ryan does, but better. And her ultimate is also, in my opinion, better as well. They're kind of similar. If Orisa ults, Ryan ults, Light Fever grips away. However, let's say there's no Light Fever, I think Orisa's ultimate is still more impactful than Reinhardt's Shatter. Unless you're like a specialist at Reinhardt, you can probably make him work and you'll be like an A tier pick, but I am generalizing as a Grandmaster player right now. So Zarya, I think is really good. I think Zarya's A tier. I think Zarya is a little bit better right now than Orisa. Primarily because I think Graviton is better than Orisa ult. People can still move, and there's a lot of characters that have mobility right now in the game that are being meta. Zarya's Grav, they can't really run away. And for that reason, if you like, let's say you're solo grabbing a Genji, the Genji will die. If you solo ult a Genji can probably run away. That's pretty much like the deciding factor. If you can actually get a kill with an ultimate. Zarya's Grav, you will get a kill. Orisa's ult, maybe. Really depends. Doomfist, in my opinion, it really depends. If there's a Sombra in a game, he's like useless. If there's a Sombra in a game, I would put him at like C tier right now. But if there's no Sombra, I think he's very, very strong and viable. I think depending on how proficient you are with Doomfist, you're either feeding and inting, or you're actually, you know, enabling your DPSs to get kills and you're surviving. I think Doom is great right now. And if I were to put or compare Doomfist and Winston, it's a very, very clear answer for me. I think Doomfist is way better than Winston because of the fact that he has CCs with his like punches and stuff. So with that being said, I'm gonna put him in front of Brig and also behind Orisa because I still think Orisa is easier, and these two are also very good against Doomfist. These two things. Ball, I did put him at a pretty high rank last season, but I think Ball is like really fallen off, specifically because the supports right now all deal way too much damage, and Ana can sleep Ball. Any CC on Ball is a no-no. Like Ball just dies. Like there's no reason to run Ball. There's literally no reason, man. I would put Ball at, I want to say like D tier, but I don't think he's as bad as Roadhog, which is why I'm gonna put at C tier. I think D.Va and Ball are kind of similar. They're very similar. They have like their own niche playstyle, but like there's other characters that do it better. I think Winston will ultimately be better than Ball, in my opinion, because of the fact that Winston's easier to play, to go in, get out, survive. That's like the important part, surviving. If you go in as D.Va, most likely you took weight, like you're gonna take a lot of damage. You don't have a bubble. You have a D.Va matrix that goes in one direction. But let's say there's a DPS shooting you from the back, you're not living. But for Winston, you have the bubble. You can survive and then jump out and get healed. It also takes a long time for Ball to like set up. And then you're gonna see some characters like Ana Sleep Dart on Ball is dangerous for Ball. Alari can just boop Ball's engagement and then Ball is just rolling away. So he will take like half his HP. Like half his HP is going to be gone. The more important thing is there was no space created for his team, and most likely your DPSs are getting ran over by the enemy tank, and the enemy supports and DPS are shooting your DPS. So you have to take into consideration, if you're creating space on a tank, one, you better be alive, and two, you actually have to do something. I don't care if you're the best Ball in the world, but you can't, like if you can't engage as Ball, you're kind of doing nothing. You're an ult battery for the enemy team. And that's like kind of D.Va's situation too. It's hard for D.Va to create space without losing her mech as well, because there's just so many like hit scan, you know, characters like Baptiste, Alari, and we haven't gone towards like DPS, but you'll get shot from everywhere, and you can't just like matrix everything. Sigma, I think Sigma is very, very strong right now. I would put him like high A, and depending on like the map, he'll be S tier. I think in certain maps like Circuit Royale, he's like a must. Like that character is so good on Circuit Royale. But in most situations, Sig can be run in almost every single situation. He has a shield, and anything with a barrier right now against like not just any barrier, but the fact that he can like control and deploy whenever he wants and block specific abilities. He can shield. Alari's ult can shield on his nade and sleep. He can shield for a brief moment of time like Baptiste ultimate damage, and also he can kinetic grasp Alari's ultimate, kinetic grasp on his cooldowns, Baptiste ultimate. Like Sigma is very, very strong. I think he's the best tank right now in the game. For that reason, it's specifically because these characters are the meta. Junker Queen is interesting. I don't think she's good at all right now, but I have seen her played because of her anti-nade. I think or not anti-nade, but the anti-effect. Her ultimate is very good, because you have to have a Kiriko on an enemy team, or your team will most likely lose to a Junker Queen. I've had a lot of success when I play Ana, and as the Junker Queen on my team, there's two anti-nade, like pretty much two anti-nades. The Kiriko has to cleanse one, and if they don't cleanse it like well, it's a free win. So she's interesting. I think she is better than Winston, in my opinion. I think she's also better than Ball, D.Va. For that reason, I'll put her on A tier. I think Junker Queen is very comp dependent. It really depends on the enemy team, but she's a very good like brawl tank right now. She also does a ton of damage with her left click, and her knife is very good. I believe they buffed her knife, like the damage and also the hitbox, so you can hit it more often too. Now the question is she better than Doomfist? I think so, actually. I think she is better than Doomfist. I think Doomfist requires a lot of knowledge, while Junker Queen doesn't. So if you're like picking up Junker Queen or Doomfist in like Grandmaster, I think I would highly recommend playing Junker Queen. I do think Orisa is better than Junker Queen and also Zarya. We'll get to the DPSs, but let's say Light Fever can just grab them away. Kiriko can cleanse it. Let's say you don't have an on your team and you get slapped. That's another one. Lari can also boop you away so that you don't actually get the ultimate off like on your team. There's like a lot of different reasons, but I think she's still very consistent enough to like get a lot of value if you're playing her in GM. For Ramattra, I think Ramattra kind of fell off hard. I don't see any reason why you'd play Ramattra over Junker Queen, Orisa, Zarya as like a brawl tank. One, he's huge. His hitbox is huge, so that's like another thing I didn't really talk about. Orisa's hitbox is huge too, but she has a lot of abilities to like really help her survive. While Ramattra only has the shield when he goes into like, I don't know, the one where he has the staff. His hitbox is like okay, but when he goes into like Nemesis form, he's huge. He only has his guard. Ana is always being played right now, so anti-nade and then sleep dart is incredibly strong. Junker Queen is also like very small. Doomfist is like not that big, but he's like medium size. I think Ramattra, his ultimate is also really bad right now unless you have like a Lucio speed boost. There's just no reason for you to play Ramattra unless like you're just like a specialist playing him. I think he is better than Diva and Ball because Nemesis is still good with like Nano. It just depends. I don't see him working very well, but he can work, which is why I put him in B tier. I do think right now Winston's a little bit better. He can still like apply pressure to some of the hitscan characters like Alari, Baptiste, and Ramattra can't really. He has to like traverse the entire map to get to higher ground. Let's say if they're higher ground, Winston can just go up, apply some pressure, drop the bubble and walk away, and or just jump back. So there's like really no reason to play Ramattra. The only reason why I would put him at B tier instead of C tier is that Nano Boost is very good with Ramattra still, and that's the only reason. It's the only reason why he's more viable than Diva and Ba. Okay, Mei is tricky. I genuinely don't think there's any characters in like S tier right now for DPS. There's exceptions, like if you were an Overwatch League player playing Sojourn, yeah, you could be an S tier Sojourn player, but that doesn't mean Sojourn is S tier. I think Sojourn is like a high A. Sojourn is by far the best character right now to play Hitscan with. She has a lot of pressure, presence. She has a lot of options. She can like run away because of the mobility she has from her slide. And you can play high ground, low ground. You can play with your team. That one-shot pressure is always going to be there as long as they're playing smart with it. Ashe is also in a similar boat. I think she's actually pretty good right now. Anything that does a lot of damage from like 40 meters plus is going to be good right now as a hit scan. Just like Sojourn, I think Ashe is also very good. So she's A tier. I think Ashe is better than Bastion. It's a hot take, but I think Bastion has very clear counters. You just go in after the turret. I think most people don't actually do that in like the meta ranks, but in GM, people are a lot smarter now because they realize, hey, we just go in afterwards. Obviously, you're not gonna have like perfect teamwork. His hitbox is also very big. So if you're playing Alari, you just shoot the Bastion. His hitbox is huge. But Ashe, a good Ashe in Grandmaster is very scary. And not even just like the Mercy Pocket, Bob is very good. Yes, there are some counters to Bob like on a Sleep Dart. I've seen some crazy stuff where like a Bob gets played and then Light Fever pulls it upwards onto his platform and then Bob's just like in a skybox just shooting everybody because I believe Bob can shoot through that pedal platform. It's weird. It's like very glitchy. So I think she's very strong right now. Dynamite is also very powerful. I've seen some combos where like Ashe throws a dynamite and then Ana throws a nade and boom. If you don't have a cleanse, they die. It's very strong. Soldier is interesting. I think Soldier is definitely better than Ashe right now. I think Soldier is a tier character, not S, because he has so much damage and so much mobility and survivability. If you have good aim, you can get really high with him. However, I think Sojourn's a little bit better because she has one shot. She can one-shot you, and that's like the difference. If it was last season, I would put Soldier S, but right now I put him at A because I started to notice Sojourn is way more powerful than people think, especially when these characters are all like in the game. I think Sojourn's one shot, you're probably not gonna even need to like left click them. If you hit a body shot with her ult, most likely they'll die because all these characters are doing damage. I think Trace is really bad right now. I can't even see her being played ever right now. I think she's C tier, a high C. I think right now, since the meta is poke and these supports are all very strong against Tracer, and Tracer's like main pro is to like really get in their backline and like try to kill a support. She can't really do that. Even if you have follow-up with like a tank, let's say a Winston, there's too much healing. There's too much healing and too much damage from these characters. I am not a huge fan of Tracer, but Like, I think she's very weak right now because of these characters. She excels at deleting characters like Zenyatta, at Lucio. She's very good at, and also Mercy. So if you have noticed, Mercy, Lucio, Zen are all down here, and so is Tracer. Why? It's because these three are not being played a lot. Like, I think there's a lot of counters to some of these characters, and it's very obvious now to me because I've been playing the game for a long time. Whenever there's like a DPS support meta, Tracer always falls out. It's like cyclical. And then there was also like a meta when Ana Brig was a thing. Tracer also sucks against Brig. She's still here. She's vibing. Whenever Brig exists, Tracer will not like have a lot of value either. Widowmaker is interesting. I think some of the maps that Widow is always played on, like Circuit Royale, she's like the character. Like if you don't have Widowmaker, it's you're hindering your team. Like if you're playing DPS and you're not on Widowmaker and they have a Widow that's like hitting half their shots, like they're not a good Widowmaker. But if they hit one kill, they get one kill, that's it. Because Circuit Royale, the way it's like kind of laid out, it's a lot of long range and not a lot of flank routes. If you really think about it, on first and second point, there's not a lot of flank routes for you to go. It's just you gotta look down or look down this long road, and it's just the Widowmaker staring at you. She's pretty good, but not like as viable as the other A tier characters. I would put her at high B because she still is viable. It really depends if you can aim, and there's a lot of people that can aim in Grandmaster, and those maps where she excels at, it's like impossible to play if it's a good Widowmaker hitting their shot. Sombra is also important because Sombra can bully Widowmaker, but as long as, let's say, there's like a support watching the Widowmaker, Sombra can't really kill her as often. It's all about positioning, and if the Widowmaker is positioning herself correctly with her support, or like the support is positioning with her correctly, Sombra can't actually kill her that easily. Like she can be a distraction, but like I said, if Widow hits one headshot on like a support or the enemy DPS, you know, it's over, right? Mei. So Mei's interesting because I think she's good in the previous meta, but right now she's kind of like falling off because poke, it's like very poke heavy. Depending on like how you play her, you can make her work. For Cassidy is D tier, but this is like a generalization for all Grandmaster. I think if I played Cassidy, I've been able to kind of make him work, and I'd put him at C tier. But most Cassidys are not probably playing it like the way I'm playing. The way I played Cassidy is I just tunnel vision on the tank. If you look at all these tanks, you can technically duel these tanks as Cassidy. Zarya, Orisa, Junker Queen, you can duel against them. Sigma is a little bit hard, but you still deal a lot of damage to these tanks if you're frontlining. It's kind of hard to do so because you're like really fucking up close to these characters that are excelling in close range. But as long as you're hitting your headshots and you're like hitting your all your shots, you can make them work. Most people aren't gonna do that, so which is why I put them at D tier. You can duel a Ramatra as well. Like Cassidy is still a very good duelist against tanks. It's just not against DPSs and D supports. There are some exceptions. For example, if you're able to actually get close enough to these characters, you can like be a threat. But most of the time in Grandmaster, people are aware of like playing at a range, so that Cassidy, his damage fall off gets nullified. Like he just does no damage. He just does no damage from far away or medium range. I would put her at B tier. I think she can work. You just have to play very like kill tank heavy to make her work. I think she's better than Widow for sure, but she's definitely not like Sojourn, Soldier, Ashe. It's just a very poke meta heavy like time right now, and Mei can poke and like get a kill, but she's not consistent with it unless you're just that guy, but you're really not that guy. I think Pharah, without the Mercy pocket, she's bad. And right now, since Mercy is like, I don't want to say she's a throw pick because I think Zen's a throw pick right now. Mercy just doesn't do enough right now for your team. And Pharah, like, unless you're like a god tier Pharah and the enemy like Baptiste, Ana, Alari can't aim, you can do something on Pharah, but like I don't think you're that guy on Pharah either. You're not that guy, all right? You're not that guy. There's no reason to play Pharah. There's too many characters that can like actually shoot you out in this guy. I want to put her at D tier, like I really do, because I don't think she's good. I think Cassidy's more viable than Pharah too. It's because right now the meta is all hit skin heavy, and then Pharah is not going to do a lot of work. Reaper, I know a lot of people are going to get upset because I think people think Reaper in GM is good. I genuinely don't think so, because as long as you're like, if these three players in GM are like being mindful of Reaper TP, they should have no problem bullying him. There should be no like problem. And if the Reaper is just like shooting the tank, he's close, so you can just DPS him, anti him. Like I think Reaper is just not good. And right now, it's very hit scan heavy and it's like long range heavy. So if you're playing Reaper against a Sojourn, you better get up close, because if you're like TPing and they all run away from you, right? Because like they heard a TP or just saw you, you just walk away and shoot him from like mid-range, and then he won't really do much damage, which is why I don't think Reaper is that good. I've seen like some synergies between Reaper and Zarya, but I still don't think it's enough really to like really be significant enough for you to like carry. And I'd still rather have Genji, Nanoblade, and Tracer just being really annoying than Reaper on my team. So I think Reaper is the D pick. Also, I said it last season too. I think Reaper is like not in a good state right now. Literally no reason to play Reaper. All right, Symmetra. I think Symmetra is low-key. She's good, but you have to play her in a way where like, since these are all meta right now and they all do DPS, Symmetra gets less value because they're actually shooting back at a sim. I think her turrets are like very good right now to enable her team because like it provides wall hacks, and people don't really talk about it that much, but I think wall hack is always going to be useful in this game because it helps you line up a headshot, especially in Grandmaster where people can aim. It's very helpful. That's why I think Sonic Arrow. Okay, let me re-put Hanzo. I think Hanzo is better than Widow right now, considering the fact that like Sonic Arrow is very helpful and you can get it more often than Widow wall hacks. So for Symmetra, I think she's very niche right now. I think last season I put her at like S because it was Bastion meta, and if there was ever a Bastion sim on one team, that shit is impossible. Like there's literally zero counter to Bastion sim. Like you have to nade and just play like very mobile heavy characters so that you don't get caught out with the sim TP and the Bastion like form. But it's Bastion form. You can't just assume people are going to run away from the TP. You can't. Which is why I thought it was so strong, because most likely people aren't like paying attention, or they aren't well versed against like the strategy. Because in Overwatch 1, there was a pretty distinct counter to TP sim. You play Ana and Nade and Lucio, you just speed away. You speed away from the enemy team so that you can't get like TP'd on. If the enemy team has like a Lucio too, I mean, it's fine because you're already gone. So there was like a distinct counter. Nowadays, it's kind of like a lot harder to like really do that. I think she's B+. If I were to have like another spot, I put her at B+. I think Sim is very good. She's slept on. She's very good. Once like these get nerfed, I think Sim will be played more often again. Torb, he's very easy to hit. He's probably one of the easiest DPS characters in the game to hit, which is why like it's not because his kit is bad, it's because his hitbox is like really bad, which is why I'll put him at C, because he's so easy to hit. And like I said, hit scan is easy to use, like hit scan characters. So yeah, Torb is always like half HP at least, but I do think Torb is better than Tracer right now. I think Tracer is just like terrible. Let me fix this a little bit. I think Genji is better than Torb because of Nanoblade. I think Genji Nanoblade is still very viable. I think Sombra is very strong as a duelist. The way you play her is it's kind of like ratty. Once like someone dies, you can spawn camp them. You have options. If you want to farm like the enemy tank, you can hack him, and then it'll enable your supports to just like pump damage into the tank. There's like options for Sombra right now, and for that reason, I think Sombra is better than Bastion. However, I do think Ashe is better right now because she can deal damage in duel, but her like survivability got like cut a lot because of her translocator change. I still think she brings a lot to the table in a team fight. Like her EMP stops people's abilities, which is huge. EMP can stop Baptiste's ult. EMP can nullify Ana's nano boost, so like the person can't like actually use their movement ability. So like how I played Sombra the other day was the team ran Ana, Genji. The moment I learned that they have Nanoblade from just like thinking about it, I just hacked the Genji, and then he can't swing or dash, or he can swing, he can't dash, and then I EMP him afterwards, and he just can't do anything. He can't actually use his ability. And then by that, hopefully your team has actually killed him, because that's like hindering him for like 3 seconds or something like that. So Sombra is very good. It's all about how you play her right now. I think she's good if you play her as a duelist and not as like an assassin. Like she can play assassin, but she's like pseudo assassin now in my opinion. You have to play her as like a main duelist. I think Echo is interesting. It's kind of like a hot take. I actually think she's like B tier right now, considering how many hit scans there are, like always being in the game. I think Echo can work if you have a Mercy Pocket, but you're not going to be carrying. Echo right now is having the same problem as Pharah. There's just too many hit scan being played. There's always hit scans in the game. If the enemy team is running like Kiriko, Lucio, or like Life Fever, Ana or something, Baptiste, yeah, she can work because she isn't being pressured as much. by hit scan. There's also so much dude, there's so much healing in this game. I'm like really thinking about it right now because I want to put her in A tier, but there's so much healing in this game where like if she goes all in, they might not even die. They might not even die. Like I'd put her at B plus if there was. I mean, it is what it is, right? Because supports. It's too much healing. So any character that is like a flank character that goes all in, like Tracer, Echo, Genji, they are suffering because it's too much healing. And not only that, these supports shoot back. They are strong at dueling. So any character that goes all in is suffering right now. If you play like the playstyle where like you poke and then go in, you can make it work, which is why that's B. But Echo excels at going in, deleting shit, and then flying away. What do you guys think about my tier list? Grandmaster tier list, guys. GM. Agree?